Hello everybody. Welcome back aboard the Cape May Whale Watcher. We are still out on our virtual whale and dolphin watch. I'm Captain Jeff, your quarantine captain. I'm out with Captain Stewart today. And we just had a whale spout up ahead of us here. So let's stand by. Let's check it out. Let's see what we got here, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the opposite view here. Look around, we had a humpback whale go down just up ahead of us here. I know you got some wind noise here, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by, look around, let's see what we got. Let's see when they come back up. Right up ahead. Out of gear here, folks. The whale change direction is coming towards us. Let's see where they pop back up. Oh, that's a big old whiff of whale breath there, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the opportunities, or one of the beauty parts of being on a virtual whale watch is you don't have to smell that with me. So let's look around here, see where he pops back up. There's been as many as 3 humpback whales out here in the bay. I believe this whale swam underneath of us. So let's look around. Give me a chance, I'll be back up. If you're just tuning in here, folks, we got a humpback whale right back behind us here. 7 o'clock, Cap! Just was on the surface. We have a humpback whale out here in Delaware Bay. We've been getting reports throughout the spring here. However, since we're not on our regular schedule, ladies and gentlemen, it's tough to get you back out here. We wrapped up a live Facebook there earlier, a virtual whale and dolphin watch around the island of Cape May. And now we've got you back up live here. Let's see if the whale pops back up. Stand by. Typically around here, folks, humpback whales are going to stay down 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. They can stay down for up to 30 minutes if they want to, which is an eternity when you're waiting for them to come back up. It's not the norm, though, ladies and gentlemen. Usually around here, our water depth doesn't allow the whales to stay down. Just surfaced out on our port side here. Very slight spout. Swimming up the bay here. There she blows. Going down. So we're looking at a humpback whale here aboard the Cape May Whale Watcher. Out in the middle of Delaware Bay here. We are just north of the ferry lanes. Just south of Brandywine Shoal. Again, this is a humpback whale. Also a member of the order Cetacea. Humpback whales are baleen whales. So this whale does not have any teeth. In lieu of teeth, they have baleen plates in the roof of their mouth. They use the baleen like a big filter. They'll filter their food out of seawater and then swallow it whole. Now the last surfacing there, the whale dove. If tuning in at that point, notice the whale humped up or arched up its back. That's how these whales got their common name from whalers, humpback. The reason the whale does that, humpback whales have a lot of blubber. They are positively buoyant. So if the whale stops swimming, they kind of just float just below the surface. So when humpback whales want to dive deeper in the water or stay down for extended periods, they have to force themselves underwater. When they do this, they're forcing, swimming back towards us here. Swimming away up ahead, right side here. Just went down. Not very active at the moment, but that's fine. So they have to force themselves underwater. When they do this, humpback whales, as they're forcing themselves under, will arch up or hump up their back. And then the next portion of this, as their dorsal fin's exposed, and then their tail flukes sometimes will also break the surface of the water. So they'll fluke, and you can see the underside of their tail. How deep is the water where we are? How shallow can they go? I have seen humpback whales in as little as 10 feet of water. I've seen them right off the beachfront. Hi, Pat. Welcome back. We're sitting here just offshore on the Delaware Bay here, Delaware Bay side, offshore at Cape May. And we got a humpback whale. If you're just tuning in, you're aboard the Cape May Whale Watcher for a virtual whale and dolphin watch. We had no reports to go on today, and Captain Stewart found the whale here, right side, just went down again. Sorry if the camera view is a little shaky here. Our stabilizer is being used to charge the battery. The phone's dying here. So again, we're looking at a humpback whale. It's just on the surface here, right side. Doesn't seem to be traveling at the moment or feeding. Waiting for them to come back up. Again, humpback whales can stay down 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. They can stay down for up to 30 minutes when they want to. Well, that's not the norm around here. So one of the questions in the comments here was how deep is the water here? We're probably at about 30 feet of water. Most of the Delaware Bay, especially on the New Jersey side, which is what we're on here, the Delaware Bay is fairly shallow. Its deepest point over on the Delaware side is around 130 feet. There's a reason it's called the Delaware Bay and not the New Jersey Bay. Deep water's on the Delaware side. Whale's just on the surface again here. You got Cape May Point in the background. Have I noticed whales coming back? Humpback whales have been making a pretty good comeback for sure. Over the course of my lifetime, I'm 38 years old. We've seen more and more humpback whales here off of Cape May and throughout the mid-Atlantic states, really. So, yes, there's humpback whales that range all over the North Atlantic here, but the mid-Atlantic states in particular has seen a resurgence of humpback whales over the last 3 decades. So basically from Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, New York, there has been an abundance of humpback whales, particularly in this past decade here. The last couple of years have been phenomenal. It's true. We have them just about the whole summer. If we could get out here in the wintertime, folks, some of our best whale watches have happened in the spring and fall of the year. As many as 15 humpback whales in a single trip. So there can be quite a few in the spring and fall. There's quite a few throughout the summer. Best trip in the middle of the summer last year up off of Stone Harbor. I think we were up to 7 humpback whales. We had 3 of them breaching that day. So humpback whales, the species that we're currently waiting for to come back up ahead of us here, they are the species that will breach. They will jump out of the water. It's what they're known for. If you've seen it on our website or the photo on our brochure, they will jump up out of the water, lifting half their body or more. Next question we usually have, when will the whale breach? Great question. I don't know. I've been trying to learn whale. I cannot speak it clearly. It's up to the whale. Keep your eyes peeled, see where he pops back up here. It was out to our left here, in line with Cape May. And we are waiting for a humpback whale. It's not particularly active. It's just been surfacing here, breathing. Tell him. Well, it was just on the surface here out on our left. Just tuning in here with us here, folks. This is our second virtual whale and dolphin watch today. It's actually the same trip. The phone was dying, so we were wrapping it up. Captain Stewart brought us out to the middle of Delaware Bay here, where we had no report today, though we've had several reports throughout the spring season here. And we have a humpback whale just up ahead of us here. Looks to be maybe a 25 to 30 foot long humpback whale. Has not been too active just yet. However, we just got here. We got a little bit of time, so we're going to spend it and see what happens here. Got a beautiful day to be out here. And we're waiting for the whale to come back up. Captain Stewart just had him on the right here. Parallel on our course. Give him a chance to be back up. Rule number 1, whale and dolphin watching. Whatever goes down's got to come up. What's the temperature here today? We're around 50, 55 degrees. Pretty nice day. We had a beautiful, bright, sunny sky earlier. We got a little overcast coming in here. We picked today because we had the weather. We got the conditions, as you can see. Beautiful, flat, calm ocean and Delaware Bay here today. And we had a humpback whale on the surface beside us here. I missed him on the last time there. So stand by. We're looking around. We're scanning around. Water temperature is currently 51 degrees. Just ahead of us, on the surface, humpback whale, going down. Now, humpback whales can grow to be up to 50, 55 feet in length, max, up to 30 tons, 60,000 pounds. This whale looks to be maybe in the 25 to 30 foot category, maybe a little bigger, but not much. So not fully grown yet. Again, it's a baleen whale. The whale doesn't have any teeth. In lieu of teeth, they have baleen plates in the roof of their mouth. What's baleen? Baleen looks like bristles on a brush from far away. Baleen's made of keratin, so it's flexible. They have hundreds of these baleen plates in the roof of their mouth. They'll take in seawater and fish together. Sometimes very quickly. Something we see pretty often around here is a practice called lunge feeding, where the whales lunge up towards the surface through the school of fish. Usually around here it's bunker or menhaden is the type of fish that the whales eat. It's about the largest thing that the whales eat. Got a little fluke print on the surface just up ahead, so the whale's not deep in the water here. And we're waiting for him to surface again here. Just up ahead. So they'll take in the water and the fish together. They'll then force it all to the front of their mouth. The fish will get trapped in these baleen plates. The water escapes through the baleen plate, goes back out. Then they swallow the fish whole. So the whale's just on the surface here. That's Delaware in the background here to give you some orientation. The whale is heading south down the bay here. Again, this is a humpback whale. I mentioned earlier about why the whales arch up or hump up their back, because they're positively buoyant. They practically float, so they force themselves underwater. Part of that arching up or humping up of their back, they will then expose their tail flukes sometimes on their deeper dives. If the whale's tail flukes pop up, we can photograph the underside of their tail. And with this information, we can help to participate in some citizen science by helping photo identify the humpback whale. If it's one that's in our catalog, or a catalog here in the Mid-Atlantic states, or the Gulf of Maine catalog. Many of the whales that we do encounter here are not cataloged. Well, took a little deeper dive there, so we got a few minutes here. And could pop up anywhere, though it seems to be staying on a pretty constant course here towards Delaware. How far out are we from shore? We're about 6 miles off the beach here. Maybe a little further, 7. Closer to Cape May than Delaware, in the middle of Delaware Bay. Just surfaced up ahead, right side. Hope it breaches. Me too. I mean, that's my favorite, right? That's everybody's favorite. That's why we're here. Just seeing a humpback whale in its natural environment, though, is beyond words on its own, ladies and gentlemen. Just up ahead, right side. Again, I know I just had a little bit of tail flukes up there. Getting a little more active, picking up some speed here. Got some fluke prints on the surface. That's from the whale's tail going up and down. When it goes up and down, it displaces the water and leaves a ring of calmer water on the surface, and we call it a fluke print or footprint. In shallower water, sometimes they even kick up the sediment on the bottom, and that's how we can track the whale as we move along with it here. So seeing a whale in its natural environment like this, it's an experience, ladies and gentlemen. I know some of you have told me over the years it's on your bucket list. It's worth checking that box. And a lot of you, sometimes we have people out. I've been out a few times. I haven't seen a whale. Well, all I can say to that, ladies and gentlemen, is the more you go, the better your chances. So when you can go, take the opportunity to do it. I think we're all doing some reassessments here on missed opportunities, things we could do whenever we wanted to, and now we can't. Well, whale watching's just like that, ladies and gentlemen. When you got the opportunity, you got to take it. Captain Stewart's shut down the mains here. See if the whale's a little friendlier. Sometimes, just on the surface, it's changing direction. Right side here, going up the bay. Perhaps the whales found some bunker here to feed on. That's another cool thing to see. As cool as the breaching is, the lunge feeding can be awesome when they break the surface. Can you take a pontoon boat out here? I wouldn't recommend it. While you could take a pontoon boat out on a day like today, ladies and gentlemen, the chances of a large boat wake coming from one of these large tankers on the far side of the Delaware Bay here could easily swamp a pontoon boat. That's why you want to be out here in a large boat, something safe. We're well from shore here. So no, I don't recommend a pontoon boat, even in Delaware Bay. They're meant for back bays, party barges, stuff like that. You want to go whale watching, either have somebody who's an experienced captain take you out on their own boat, or come with us. We've been doing this for 30 years, ladies and gentlemen. Captain Stewart found this whale today without any reports. He just went where he thought it was going to be. Right side up ahead. Just went down on our right around 1 o'clock here. Now, we are members of a program called Whale Sense, ladies and gentlemen. Whale Sense is a cooperative program set up among whale and dolphin watching companies, whale and dolphin conservation, and National Marine Fisheries. The sense of Whale Sense, it's an acronym. We stick to the Atlantic region guidelines for whale and dolphin watching. The gist of those guidelines, if you're ever out with a captain other than us, you always stay behind the path of the whale. We never knowingly cut off the path of a whale. You want to stay behind the whale. The whale has the right of way here. It can go where it wants. You never approach within 100 feet of the whale. This species of whale, you never get within 100 feet of. If this was a North Atlantic right whale, North Atlantic right whales are extremely endangered, with only 400 individuals left in the Atlantic. North Atlantic right whales, if you see one, you want to never get within 500 yards. That's 1,500 feet, and if you see one, you have to report it, ladies and gentlemen. That's how protected they are. But in this case, we're looking at a humpback whale. So those guidelines, we never get within 100 feet. There's other parts to that as far as how many boats can view a humpback whale at any given time. And we never cut off the path. We always want to stay behind them. Now, we're here out of gear. The whale could swim over to us closer. Sometimes that does happen, and in that case we just sit here and wait as the whale sometimes swims around the boat. That's called a close encounter. Right ahead of the boat here, about 100 feet ahead of us. Not real active so far here today. Again, just as some of you sometimes say, I haven't been out and I haven't seen a whale like this whale. Well, I haven't seen it breach yet. I haven't seen it slap its tail flukes. Again, ladies and gentlemen, with whale and dolphin watching, the better your chances of seeing different activities from a humpback whale, you got to go more often. No, we have never been capsized by a whale. In the comments here from Sandra Fredericks. That's not really a thing, ladies and gentlemen. It has happened to a couple of fishermen I heard about in a small little center console that they were fishing right on top of where the whale was. It is not possible in this boat. We are 110 feet in length. This whale's about 30 feet in length. The rest of whale sense, ladies and gentlemen, we educate naturalists, operators, and passengers to have whale sense. We notify appropriate networks of right whale sightings, entangled whales, dead whales, and other whale issues. We set an example on the water at all times as a responsible whale watcher, and we encourage ocean stewardship and conservation. For more about the Whale Sense program and other Whale Sense accredited companies, including us, check out whalesense.org. This whale is just ahead of us here, waiting for him to come back up. Has changed direction a couple times here. So we're scanning around. And while we're waiting for this whale to come back up, we're also looking around for other spouts in the area. There's been as many as 3 in the bay this spring, in the last couple of weeks here. We are just off of Cape May Point. There's the lighthouse back behind us on the right. We're probably about 6 or 7 miles from it. Got about a 30-foot long humpback whale here. Whale's down right now, waiting for him to come back up. Whale sense and common sense. I think they're just dead ahead of us here. That's an excellent point. Humpback whales. Why are these guidelines in place for humpback whales? As I mentioned earlier, humpback whales, bottlenose dolphins, they are all protected by the Marine Mammal Protection Act. Some of these species of whale are also protected by the Endangered Species Act. In the Marine Mammal Protection Act, part of the protections, they're protected against harassment. Now, you think about whale watching, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of like harassment. We're out here purposely trying to find this species and check them out, take pictures. So the guidelines were put in place so that we can safely do that. Instead of harassing the whale, we're out here reviewing the whale. We're not going to be here all day following the whale around. We're tuning in for now, watching the whale, and then we'll go on our merry way, not having affected the patterns or behavior of the whale. Dead ahead of us, crossing the bow here. Nice and easy surfacing. Got a flood tide here in Delaware Bay. This whale has been a little sluggish so far, so I would predict that maybe the whale was feeding earlier and now we're just kind of not napping because we are swimming around here. It could be in a search pattern, looking for more to eat. They can eat up to 2,000 pounds of fish every day, so the bulk of the day here in the feeding grounds here in the North Atlantic is spent feeding. Now these whales are migratory. Got another fluke print there on the surface, so the whale's continuing to cross the bow here. We're just sitting here out of gear. Many of the whales, not all of the whales mind you, but many of the whales, they will go south for the wintertime and they will go down to the Caribbean. They swim about 2,000 miles down to the Caribbean to their breeding grounds. And that's where they spend their winter. Up ahead, right side, whales going off to the right up ahead here. On the surface, right side. Work on getting your last shots in here, folks. Again, we don't want to spend all day with the whale. Actually, I'd love to, but this whale's getting a little more active. That was a quicker dive there. Going back up the bay here. Now, even though the whales are migratory, again, we're in the feeding grounds for the humpback whale. The Mid-Atlantic states is now an active feeding ground throughout the summer months. So these whales are here now. These whales will be here throughout the summer. They'll be here in June. They'll be here in July, August, September, right through October, November. It's not just a spring-fall thing, folks. It's a practically year-round thing here now in the Mid-Atlantic states. So, right side on the surface. When these restrictions are lifted and you're able to come to the shore again, you will be able to go whale watching. You will have a good chance on seeing humpback whales, a good chance on seeing bottlenose dolphins. We also see leatherback sea turtles. We see mola molas or ocean sunfish. We see some sharks. We see stingrays. We see all kinds of birds. We've got ospreys right at the dock. We've got bald eagles in Cape May Canal. Right now out here, though we haven't seen too many this morning, we've got northern gannets. Wilson storm petrels. How deep is the water at the point? Depends on where you're taking the depth. Right next to the point, it's around 25 feet deep, goes up to about 10 feet deep on the top of the rips. Some of the rips are only 4 or 5 feet deep. Got to watch where you're going in a boat. If you're just tuning in with us here, ladies and gentlemen, we are out in the middle of Delaware Bay. We are aboard the 110-foot long Cape May Whale Watcher, and we are viewing about a 30-foot long humpback whale that is starting to act like it's going to feed here. Just did a complete 180, change of direction. I'm Captain Jeff, also aboard today, Captain Stewart. We are out in the middle of Delaware Bay. We're not out in the ocean. We're out in the bay. That's Delaware in the distance there. That's Cape May Point in the distance. So we're closer to Cape May than we are to Delaware, closer to New Jersey. I just saw some fish on the surface up ahead here. Looked like the bunker splashing on the surface up ahead. In the general direction this whale was moving. Got a few more on the surface up ahead to the left, actually. So humpback whales, we're in their feeding grounds. We've established that. That's why they're here. That's why they spend the whole summer here. What kind of fish do they feed on? I got another fluke print off to our right here. They feed on bunker. Bunker's a small oily fish around 3 to 9 inches in length, silver in color, also known as Menhaden. Moving off to our right, doubled back around our 4 o'clock position here. About 100 yards out, maybe a little more, 150 yards. And they eat around 2,000 pounds of this bunker every day. So again, they spend a lot of their life when they're here eating. One of the forms of that feeding or eating that they're doing is they'll lunge feed. If the fish are on the surface, they lunge up through the middle of the school of fish with their mouth wide open. They take in water and fish at the same time. Hi Whitney, welcome back. Captain Stewart found a whale here out in the bay. I'm guessing the class isn't watching anymore, but there's a whale just up ahead of us, just on the surface. About a 30-foot humpback whale. Just below the surface. Again, this is a live Facebook feed we've got here for you folks. We will be posting it later on, so if there's anybody who wasn't able to tune in for this second installment here today, they will be able to view the whole video later. We haven't had much different activity dead ahead of us here. Whales kind of just been covering maybe a less than a mile area here in search of fish. We've had some on the surface back behind us there, but the whale shied away from it. Could have been feeding all morning out here. It's our 5th installment of virtual whale and dolphin watching here with the Cape May Whale Watcher fleet. Today we were out in the 110-foot long Cape May Whale Watcher with Captain Stewart. My name's Captain Jeff. This boat is 110 feet long, has space for up to 400 passengers, and we're out here with just us. I don't know how good the sound is on this, folks, but you can hear the fish splashing on the surface if you're here. So that's how much bunker's out here. They're actually splashing on the surface back and forth. I was really hoping to get a lunge feed for you here. There could be so much bunker out here, the whale could be subsurface feeding. Sometimes they do that when the fish are all the way down to the bottom. They don't have to corral them at the surface and lunge feed. Doubled back a couple times. I think he's going to service on our right here, but wouldn't be the first time I was wrong. not wrong today, at least. Just surfaced right side here. Beautiful humpback whale. Another big characteristic of the humpback whale, if you got a good view there, you notice the whale is very dark in coloration, almost black. Well, the underside of the whale's tail flukes will have a unique pigmentation on it. Sometimes mostly black, sometimes mostly white. Usually it's a variation, and this variation is what we use for photo identifying the whales. Humpback whales are also characterized by their very large pectoral fins. So the whale has tail flukes that the whale uses for propelling itself through the water. That's what I was just speaking of. They also have very large pectoral fins. So the pectoral fins are at the sides of the whale. You could think of them as the whale's arms. No, they're not arms. On a humpback whale, they're very large. That's a unique characteristic, up to 1/3 their body length. So if it's a 30-foot whale, it could have pectoral fins dead ahead of us. 8 feet long, easily. And they're bright white in coloration, in contrast to the whale's very dark colored body. If you see the pectoral fins below the surface here in this New Jersey water, they're going to be looking green through the water here because our water is pretty green, not too blue. Especially here in Delaware Bay. Whale's back on the surface, going to the right. Keep hoping for some more action here. You just had that arching up, characteristic arching or humping of the back. There are distinctive markings on the humpback whale's pectoral fins. That's a great point. We actually had one that had a distinctive marking from an entanglement that we saw back in the spring there, or the fall of last year off of Stone Harbor. Turned out it was a whale from up off of Maine, and also had been sighted off of Provincetown, Massachusetts, called Zorro. So there are a lot of threats out here for humpback whales, ladies and gentlemen. I just touched on one of them, entanglements. Humpback whales get entangled in fishing gear. They get entangled in other things too, all kinds of different debris that can be found out here. Fishing gear's top on those marks. Mostly things like lobster traps or crab traps, fish traps, anything that has a main line going to the surface and a float. Humpback whales do get entangled in these. Right side, swimming away. One advantage to whale and dolphin watching is we are a level 1 responder. If we see an entangled whale out here, we can report it. We can take photographs. We can show disentanglement teams where the entanglement is on the whale from our photographs. We can describe it to them and give them their best chance for being able to disentangle the whale. Ship strikes are another major issue for humpback whales. Not so much ships like us, folks. We're 110 feet in length. I'm more talking about, we're in Delaware Bay. This is a major thoroughfare up to the ports up in Philadelphia, Paulsboro, New Jersey, Marcus Hook. Ships that are 110 feet in width or greater, up to 1,000 feet long, crude oil carriers, freighters, cargo ships, car carriers. They bump into a whale like this and they don't even know it. One advantage that the whales have had lately, there's less traffic. There was a question earlier, do the whales and dolphins like the less traffic? Oh, lunge feet! There you go. Oh yeah. That's what I wanted to show you. That's a lunge feed, folks. I hope you got it. Again, when this isn't live anymore, you'll be able to at least come to this part of the video here and check it out. Hey, Danielle. Thanks for tuning in. We're virtual whale watching out here in the mouth of Delaware Bay aboard the Cape May Whale Watcher. We got about a 30-foot long humpback whale. We just had a nice lunge feed here. Port side up ahead. Waiting for him to come back up. Going off to the left in line with Cape May Point here. On the surface, Humpback. Hi, Danielle. Yes, you're right. We all need this right now. Little whale watching, little boat ride. I wish you all were here. Again, we all have to be grateful for the things we do have, right? We have our homes, we have our apartments. We have this technology, so I can do this. It's been a lot of great... Oh, going to the right up ahead. So happy I can share this with you guys. Cannot wait till you can all be out here for the real. In the meantime, we have this, right? Be happy for what we have, because we've got an awful lot. Going to the right up ahead. How long do the whales stay around? That's been a popular question here, folks. We've had some folks say they're only spring and fall here. That is not the case here in New Jersey. In New York and New Jersey, the whales are here, not year-round, but they're here for the better part of it, certainly throughout the summer months. So when you're able to get back out, ladies and gentlemen, June, July, August, September, October, November, the whales will be here. Couple more fluke prints on the surface up ahead. Whales moving off. Hoping for another lunge feed here, folks. We had one earlier there. Again, if you're just tuning in with us, you're aboard the 110-foot... Oh, there you go! Oh, yeah! Hungry humpback! Beautiful. Oh, and I am downwind. Has whale breath. One advantage to virtual whale watching, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to smell it. But honestly, right now, there's nothing sweeter. Whale just lunge fed up ahead of us here, moving off to our right. We're out of gear here, waiting to see where they come back up. If you're just tuning in with us, see we just shot up in viewership here. You're aboard the 110-foot long Cape May Whale Watcher today, aboard with Captain Jeff and Captain Stewart for a virtual whale watch. We're here with about a 30-foot long humpback whale, maybe a little bigger now that I've seen them lunge feed, maybe 35. This whale has started to engage in some active feeding here. We've got literally bunker or Menhaden on the surface all around us here in the bay. You can hear him splashing on the surface. Now, left side. Cap says the whale went behind us here. Yep, on the surface, left side. I need to know more about whale breath. Just up ahead of us here. A couple fluke prints on the surface. Going off to the right up ahead. How many whales come through at one time? It's an interesting question. Well, right now there's about 3 in the Delaware Bay that we have had sighted over the last few weeks here. They don't come through necessarily, ladies and gentlemen. We had a group of 3 humpback whales in Delaware Bay last year. Starting in April, we sighted them off of Cape May Point, spring break last year, and those same whales were still here up into September. So they're not coming through. This is where they're coming to because they're here feeding. They're feeding, eating this bunker that I was just talking about. If we're fortunate enough here, if you're just of some lunge feeding here, I hope. Up ahead. Surfacing. Moving towards Cape May Point. So the best whale watch we had last season, we were up to 15 whales in one trip. That was in the spring last year. Best trip we had midsummer, I believe it was August. We had 7 or 8 humpback whales up off of Stone Harbor. And we had 3 of them breaching on that trip. It was awesome. The breach is where the whale jumps up out of the water, dead ahead of us here. Taking it easy again. This whale has, there's the tail flukes just popped up. This whale was lunge feeding earlier here. And could be eyeing up some more fish here. Give him a chance, he'll be back up. Left side up ahead. Taking it easy. As I mentioned, the whale was lunge feeding earlier. Right now we're just surfacing here. Basically just coming to the surface and breathing. Swimming around. Could be stalking some more prey here. Do the dolphins and whales interact? Yes. In the comments section here. Yes, they do, actually. We have seen whales and dolphins competing for the same fish at times. Oftentimes, though, they're kind of just crossing paths. They move at different rates. So the whales, when they're actively feeding out here, usually you'll have the whale in one area or a couple of whales, and then the dolphins will kind of come through a big pot of them. But they're usually traveling at a greater speed than the whale, so they're not necessarily interacting. They're kind of just crossing paths. But yes, oftentimes we'll have the two in the same area simultaneously. Left side up ahead. Give this whale a little bit longer here. We don't want to hang out too long. We like to give the whales their space. Again, if you're just tuning in, you're aboard the Cape May Whale Watcher. We are a 110-foot long whale and dolphin watching boat located in Cape May, New Jersey. Going into our 27th season here. from the same location at the Miss Chris Marina. I'm Captain Jeff, your quarantine captain. Out here with Captain Stewart today. We were out earlier going around the island of Cape May, and we had no reports today. Captain Stewart brought us here on a hunch and found the whale. Off to the left up ahead. Have not had any other spouts in the area to go check out a second or third whale, though there have been reports of up to 3 in the bay here. The other evening, one of the Cape May Lewis ferries said they had at least 3 separate locations with spouts. And the whales are here throughout the season. We had some questions earlier about, the whales are only here in the spring or fall. We wanted to say hi to Lower Township Schools. I believe the superintendent might be tuning in right now. Thanks for tuning in. Very happy to be providing this. Again, we've got a humpback whale up ahead of us here. Captain Stewart found him out here in the middle of Delaware Bay. That's what he does. Whale was moving off to our right up ahead here. We have had some lunge feeding activity out of this 30 to 35 foot humpback whale. Question about the whale being around in the summer months. We do have whales in the summer months, ladies and gentlemen. We start to see them in March, and we run to December because we see them in December. And we see them June, July, August. So once you're able to come back out with us, we will be here. The whales will be here too. Up ahead, right side, moving away. Humpback. On the surface, going down. Again, if you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, you're aboard the Cape May Whale Watcher here. We're out in the middle of Delaware Bay. Captain Stewart, myself, Captain Jeff. We're out here reviewing about a 35-foot long humpback whale. We've seen some different activity out of the whale today. We've had lunge feeding and quite a bit of surfacing activity next to the boat here, not within 100 feet. We've been keeping our distance, following our whale sense guidelines at all times. And this will be posted to our page once we wrap it up here. That way you can scroll through, check it out. We're trying to do these virtual whale and dolphin watch trips whenever we have the weather here, ladies and gentlemen. Today we've got the weather. When it's blowing 30 out here, we don't, so we don't go. Whales due up at this point. Look around. Oh, right side. Get our last shots in. Beautiful.
It's like between 33 feet and 27 foot. He's just working the edge of it the whole time.
Erica tuning in here saying, I think it's amazing they don't get scared of the boats, I think is what you were trying to convey. Well, I agree. Now, the whales have had a break from a lot of boating activity lately. However, one thing you have to remember is they are highly adaptable, and they're out here for survival. This is their home. This is their feeding grounds. And their feeding grounds for humpback whales, many of them, they all coincide with where there's a lot of boat traffic, unfortunately. So, just like some of us have had to adapt how we go to the grocery store lately, humpback whales over the last 1,000 years have adapted to us. And over the last couple hundred here, adapted to the noise of engines, bigger boats. Chance will be back up. Whale was just working right along a ledge here, a little shoal going up the bay, dead ahead. Moving up the bay. Again, if you're just tuning in, we got about a 35-foot long humpback whale out here in the middle of Delaware Bay. This is a live video currently. We're going to be posting it to our page when we're done. This whale has done some lunge feeding activity in the last 30 minutes here, so once it's posted to the page, you'll be able to go in there, scroll through it, check out this whale doing some lunge feeding. They're lunge feeding on bunker. So the whale's swimming up to the school of bunker. The bunker is towards the surface. The whale's swimming underneath the bunker, and then the whale's crashing up through the middle of the bunker with its mouth wide open and taking in the fish and the seawater together. This is a cetacean. This is a baleen whale, so it doesn't have any teeth. It takes in the fish and the water together. The fish get trapped in the baleen, and the water escapes through the baleen, and then they swallow the fish whole. All right, Cap's giving me the symbol here. I think he's ready for lunch. Me too. Just went down, dead ahead of us here. I want to thank all of you for cruising and searching with us here today. From the crew of the Cape May Whale Watcher, myself, and the whole Stewart family, thank you all for cruising and searching with us today. We hope you enjoyed your cruise, and you tell all your friends about us. We're the largest and the fastest whale and dolphin watching boats in the state of New Jersey. We have the most capacity of any of the boats. We have the most whale viewing rail space of any in New Jersey. We have 2 boats seating over 300 passengers on one and 400 passengers on the other. Once you're able to get out, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you choose us. We hope you get out with us. These whales will be here throughout the season, throughout the summer. We'll be able to do it safely. We're communicating with our local government, the CDC, health department, everybody, so that we'll be able to get you out here in a safe manner. I look forward to seeing you all this summer. In the meantime, stay home, stay safe, and we'll all get through this storm together. I'm Captain Jeff, your quarantine captain. Have a great rest of the day.
Are you rolling a sign?